This was the worst experience of my college career. We went to a building off campus, out in the woods somewhere. So it's just a little bit kind of creepy. Them girls wanted my head on a platter. You might want to get your popcorn for this one. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Miss Titus 2. I got a nice long story for y'all today. This is one of the most humiliating things that I've ever experienced in my life. College was not easy. It wasn't easy for me probably the first 2 or 3 years because I didn't have a strong community. And because I didn't have a strong sense of community, I wanted to be a part of a sorority. If y'all been watching the channel over the last year and a half, 2 years or so, you've seen me interview people who are in Greek fraternities and sororities, specifically Black fraternities and sororities. Those individuals decided to denounce the organizations once they became Christians. So yeah, I've enjoyed doing those, but I haven't gotten a chance to really share my own personal stories. So I figured, I don't know, maybe this will help. I want to tell y'all some stuff that I kind of wish someone had told me in college, which actually somebody did try to tell me this in college, but I didn't listen. But we'll get to that here in a few minutes. So I'm hoping this will help Christians who are currently in college, or maybe those who are now done with college and you still are pursuing Greek life, or you feel away because you didn't get selected, or you in college right now, you didn't get selected and your feelings is hurt. Listen, I done experienced all them emotions. I think it's good for Christians to share their individual stories with this, which is why I keep talking about the issue and which is why I keep bringing people on the channel to discuss it. So anyway, now that I done said all that y'all probably was just like, girl, what you even talking about? I tried to join a sorority. Which one? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. How about this? Y'all tell me in the comments, what sorority do you think I tried to be a part of? I wanted to get into this sorority and they didn't pick me. They didn't pick me. They didn't pick me. How did I get into this predicament? I didn't have community. Freshman, sophomore year was a culture shock for me. At school, I just had problems fitting in. The few people that I knew from high school that came to the same college as me ended up dropping out of school by our sophomore year. So I was just like, okay, I don't have no more friends. I did try to join some service organizations, do things here and there, but none of it really stuck. So I just felt really lonely. And so I said, you know what? These Greek fraternities and sororities, like, they look pretty cool. They look fun. These kids look like they got their stuff together. I want to be a part of that. And so I didn't know anything about Greek life initially. Again, freshman year, I was just like, whoa, so this is college? So A Different World was pretty much the only exposure that I had to Greek life prior to college. Nobody in my family was Greek. Me and my first cousin were the first ones to even get the opportunity to go to a 4-year school that had these types of organizations. So I didn't have anybody to prep me. So if you've never gone to college or experienced the culture of Greek life, there are rules. Okay, I didn't understand all the red tape you got to go through just to even be considered to join one of these orgs. One of my friends who was at a different college, she was pledging Delta, and so I just had so many questions. There's always rumors about Greek life on campus. They haze, they do this, they do that. And so I was asking my friend, I was like, I heard that they hit people with paddles. Is that true? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, yeah. I said, why do they hit people with paddles? She said, well, during the civil rights movement and before, Black people have just suffered a lot in this country. And so hazing is supposed to symbolize the suffering of Black Americans. And I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand. But this was somebody I had known for, I don't know, like 10 years. Me and her went to the same church. I trusted her. And we're still good friends. If you're watching this, boo, I love you. But she crossed Delta and I was like, hey, if she did it, I trust her. I want to join an organization too. So one of my homegirls from school, I mean, I had a couple friends. Praise God for them couple friends. She was like an expert on Greek life because her whole family was Greek. Brother, sister, like extended family, all of them. So she was like showing me the ropes or whatever. She's like, do this, don't do that. And I'm just like, what? I gotta do all of this? This is okay. All right. I'm gonna try. She gave me the rundown on hazing, paddling, getting wood. This is how they make you. And if you don't get wood, Even if you become a part of a particular sorority, they're still not going to respect you because you didn't take wood. And I'm like, really? Okay, well, I guess if I get picked to be in a sorority, I'm going to take some wood. I didn't realize how painful that getting paddled is. I thought, I mean, I had spankings growing up. It can't be no worse than a spanking. What was I thinking? I wasn't thinking. I didn't know. Ignorance is not bliss. Anyway, so I was thinking paddling can't be that bad. My friend, she done did Delta at the other school. So if she went through it, I'm assuming that I can do it too, right? Not a big deal. So I got past the paddling thing. And then my friend is also like, hey, if you want to join, you need to go to their events. All right. So I start going to this particular sorority's events. Didn't say nothing to nobody because I'm scared of y'all. Shoot, I'm scared of y'all because y'all intimidating. I don't think y'all Greeks on campus, especially for me, because I was timid. Greeks were scary. Some of the girls, anyway. The girls can be a little bit frightening. Let's keep it a buck. I was terrified. So I didn't have a whole lot to say. But there were some really nice ones too. I ain't gonna front. I ain't gonna front. Some of the people I love most in the world are Greek. What was I saying? I went to a few events. I went to several events. Leading up to that, I pledged a business fraternity, and I'm not gonna lie. I felt like the college experience started for me once I became a part of that organization because I met some of my best friends who are still my best friends to this day. I felt like being a part of that fraternity was a good stepping stone to joining this sorority because I'm like, I feel prepped now. Like, I feel like I'm more professional. They've helped me with my resume, show me how to dress, and show me how to do presentations and all of this. So, in theory, if I can get through that short process, then I think I can get through a pledging process for this organization that I'm interested in. So, I started getting my stuff together. I started doing community service, waited to the last minute to try to do that. That was stupid. The whole application process, my goodness. I don't know how it is at everybody else's school, but at my school, in order for you to submit your application, you couldn't type it on a regular computer. You had to find a word processor, not a typewriter, not a laptop, a word processor. I didn't even remember that till just this moment. Y'all, where was I gonna find a word processor at? A word processor? I had a friend who had a word processor connection. My goodness. So we got our little applications done together because she wanted to be a part of the same org that I wanted to be a part of. Even though even that was a no-no because you ain't supposed to tell nobody that you want to be a part of these organizations. Even though everybody be doing it anyway. People be talking. Y'all don't play with me. So we get our applications in. This is where it gets fun. The interest meeting. The interest meeting. Mm-mm-mm. When I tell y'all this was the dumbest, this was the worst experience of my college career. Maybe not the worst, one of the worst. Y'all, I was so nervous. We went to a building off campus, out in the woods somewhere. So it's just a little bit kind of creepy. You pull up, and I see this girl that I know, and I'm like, and she's in the sorority, right? And I'm like, okay, it's gonna be fine. And so I pull up, and she's like stone faced at me, like she looked at me like she had never met me a day in her life. And this was a nice person. I'm like, hello. She's like, hello. And I'm like, excuse me. So I park. I'm like, I can't quite remember because this was so long ago. I feel like me being as nervous as I was probably took a deep breath. Or maybe I just hurried up and got out the car. But anyway, so I got out the car. I go in there. It's hundreds of it felt like hundreds of girls. It is at least dozens of girls in there. And I'm like, all right, hey, I've got just as much a chance to do this as everyone else in this room. So I'm standing in line because I can't remember why we was in line, but we was in line for something. Everybody in all black business suit attire. It's just serious, but trying not to be too serious, but trying not to be too kiki either because apparently they can be touchy about all that kind of stuff. So I go in there, I see again another girl in the sorority who I'm kind of like cool with because my friend that had pledged Delta was friends with her. And so she was like, such and such wants to be a part of your organization. So, look out for her. So I'm like, hey girl, hey. She's like, hey girl. And I'm like, okay, I feel good. And then she looks at me, she says, they're gonna get you. And I'm like, what? What? She said, they're going to get you because such and such said that you said such and such a long time ago. And I was like, no, I didn't. But y'all, I think I had said it. I think I did. I think I said it. But I was young and dumb. I was like a sophomore or a freshman. Y'all, I had said it so long ago. I honestly couldn't even remember if I had even said it. How petty is that for somebody, for this whole organization or this whole chapter to hold that against me? Something I said when I was at least a sophomore, because I tried to do this my junior year. Y'all done held on to this for a year? Come on, cuz. Y'all couldn't have told me this like at one of these meetings, because I didn't even know y'all knew me for real, right? My night was absolutely ruined after that. So we're all waiting in line. And the reason we're waiting in line is because they were doing interviews with by groups. So I had my interview with like 2 or 3 other girls. You go in a very dark room. When I say dark, like I don't think I could see my hand in front of my face dark. I'm not even exaggerating. And there might have been 10 sorority girls sitting in a pitch black room. So I can kind of see figures of bodies, but it's so dark I can't tell who's in there. But I did recognize some of the voices because some of these girls is like my classmates or whatever. And so I noticed they supposed to be asking everybody in the room questions, like to get to know you because it's an interview. When I tell you they asked me about 50, 11 questions, 50, 11 questions. I'm looking at these other girls. I'm just like, what about them? What about them? What about them though? And I just felt like they was asking me questions like, in 1937, who was the president of our local chapter? And I was just thinking, what? And then they would be asking the other girls, like, what color is the American flag? And I just felt like something about something about this ain't right. I was so nervous during that interview. I was like tripping all over my words. They could have asked me what my name was, and I would have been like chicken noodle soup with a soda on the side. I was told like I was gone, and I was like, well, maybe this is good. Maybe they're giving me a hard time because they really like me. No, they them girls wanted my head on a platter, and I delivered it to them. Okay, I left there that night just feeling like this sucked a whole lot. This sucked a whole lot. So after my humiliating interview, I had to sit there and wait for, I don't know, maybe a week or so to find out, did I get in? Did I get in? Did I get in? I got my letter in the mail and it was like, girl, please. You knew you wasn't going to get in here. Of course, I'm exaggerating. It didn't say that, but in my mind, that's how I read the letter. I was a little bit sad, but honestly, y'all, everything turned out just fine. Every step of a righteous man or woman is ordered of the Lord. I don't think it was God's will for me to pledge that sorority for many reasons. Obviously, if you've been watching the channel, I'm now of the position that Christians don't have no business being a part of these organizations. I thought about something that had happened to me before I even really considered pledging Greek life. There was a girl who came to our campus. She had already graduated years prior, and she came back to our campus. She said, y'all, once I tried to join a sorority and I didn't get in and I was devastated. But life after college has been good. God has been good to me. And you know what? I didn't need that sorority. And I just thought, that's good to know. But what they got to do with me though? Because I don't even know if I'm trying to do this. But years later, sometimes I still think about her taking the time to come back and say that because it comforted me. I didn't even realize I needed to be comforted, because when I tell you I was distraught. I just felt so rejected because all I wanted was friends and community, because I didn't have that up until I had pledged a business fraternity, but I had only done the business fraternity the semester before I tried to do the actual sorority. It was hard. It was hard and it was lonely. I thought I needed that. But now that I've been out of school for a little bit, to look at school in hindsight, I'm just like, God, you've been faithful. And I didn't need that sorority. I really didn't. And looking back on it, I just think that if I had have been accepted into that sorority, it would have heightened pride. I think I would have taken that opportunity and used it to glorify myself and to exalt myself. And I'm not saying that this is something that the sorority stands for, but I wanted that affirmation. And I think that becoming a part of that, it could have potentially turned me into a really mean girl. I said all that to say, after I graduated college, life has treated me quite well. I was just like, man, if I was in a sorority, it would be so much easier for me to get a job. Maybe it would have, but yeah, I didn't have no problems getting a job after school. I didn't. I got a job almost immediately after I graduated. Yeah. So yeah, I got a good job after college. Y'all, God has been faithful. I did not need that experience. I didn't need the experience, but it did help me grow. And to be fair, like I think about the girls who were selected to join that sorority, and these were hardworking girls. Is there anything else left to say? I said all that to say the AKs didn't want me, and that's fine. Because God had a different plan, and His plan is just it's just honestly much better. Just being in a fraternity or sorority does not make you a bad person, but the culture of those organizations definitely promote arrogance and pride in a very unhealthy way. And as Christians, we know that God does not show favoritism. He doesn't show favoritism at all, and He doesn't encourage us to show favoritism. So excluding people for superficial things like this person has a bad reputation on campus, this person is promiscuous, that's a big thing for the girls. If they catch you out there in the streets, you're not going to get in. And I'm not I'm not saying people should be out in the streets, but what I'm saying is that's not the mindset of the church. The mindset of the church is go out and compel people to come to Christ. Show them the beauty of the gospel is that Jesus can change you from the inside out, regardless of what you've done in the past. And so, even if you've had the worst reputation today, if you want to change, Jesus Christ can do that for you. He can set you free from fornication and from all these other things, just not being able to control your body. Jesus can change you. A sorority, they'll blacklist you because you made bad decisions in college. I've seen that happen before. Anyway, y'all, that was my attempt at joining a sorority story. Yeah, it hurt at the time, but it all worked out for the best. You know what I'm saying? Like there is life after being rejected. I got rejected from that organization, and I've been rejected from a lot of different things in life. It's called being human. Everybody ain't we not always gonna get what we want, and that's okay. Sometimes that is the absolute best thing for us. And I tell you one thing, when I wasn't out hanging out with this sorority, that sorority, whatever, I had plenty of time to read the Bible. And look where it's gotten me. I mean, I love doing YouTube. I love sharing my faith with y'all and connecting with y'all on YouTube and talking theology with y'all. This is way more beneficial to me than any colors or status or organization could have done for me. Like I get to talk about the Lord all day long. So that's pretty cool. It was worth it. So y'all don't sweat it if you in college and you haven't found your community yet, or if you try to get into an organization that was like kick rocks, we don't want you. It's all right. Let me tell you who do want you. Jesus Christ. He wants you. Jesus Christ was like, hey, y'all, come unto me, all you who are heavy laden. You know what I'm saying? He'll give you rest. So I know it might not make you feel great right now, but stand strong, get to know the Lord, seek Him because He's worth it. And there's churches and communities of believers who would be more than willing to accept you and to take you in, and they won't haze you. You know what I'm saying? Again, hazing, even if it wasn't dangerous, it's just like psychologically. How do people treat one another that way and then also claim to be Christian organizations? And I know they all say, well, we don't haze, blase, blase, but they do haze. And that's why somebody died from hazing or has died from hazing every year since 1959. Okay. So who else is doing the hazing? Oh, well, it's not our organization. It's this person. But your organization picked the person who hazed. So it is your organization. Whatever. I'm sorry. Let me shut this down. Let me shut this down. I said all that to say I love y'all. If you like this video, if you want to see more personal stories from Miss Titus 2, let me know. This was fun. Maybe I should be more transparent more often. All right, y'all be blessed. Holla.